Welcome to Let's Talk Cars Radio, your automotive specialist. Let's Talk Cars Radio is sponsored in part by Napa Car Care Centers, BDG Auto Group, by Liberty Transmissions in Virginia Beach, American Do-It-Yourself Garage, J.F. Whitlow Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling in Portsmouth, and by Bob Barnum and the Perfect House team. Be a part of the program today by calling 757-222-3705. Text your comments during the show to 757-866-2192. Email your questions and comments to Dave at letstalkcarsradio.com. Now, here's the host of Let's Talk Cars Radio, Dave Palach.
Happy Saturday, America. You're listening to Let's Talk Cars Radio on WKQA Freedom Radio. I'm your host, Big Davey P, hanging out with Cameron Chaos and Nate VB. So, here we are again. I know you guys are excited, because I'm always excited, so I think everybody else is excited.
I'm so excited.
Oh, no, do not sing.
Please stop. Back at it again.
No.
Oh, what? Is that copyrighted?
No, the singing was just subpar.
Look, I'm getting a lot of messages telling me my singing was awesome, okay?
No, you're not. I think you're reading those messages wrong. So I cannot believe that it's already come around to that time of year where we're already at like the Black Friday sales kicking off and everybody's out like getting ready to start doing shopping. And I mean,
it came quick.
It came very, very quick. Now, you guys know as we get around to this time of year, we start talking about all the different crazy car gadget stuff that people could buy for Christmas for the car guy. And
buy your dip tray today.
I knew you were going to say dip tray.
Because
I knew he was going to say dip tray.
Chicken nuggets it's just so awesome.
Will you buy him the dip tray just so we're done with it?
So we don't use it? I'm going to buy it just so it doesn't get used.
Do you know I would actually probably use that, to be honest? I ain't gonna lie.
You know how I know you won't?
I have became the guy that you look at.
He said, "You know how I know you won't."
You know how I know you won't use it?
Why?
Because you've used the ramen cooker like once.
Okay, because that's different.
It's the same thing.
Look,
It's the same thing.
How is it different?
Same
you can't
thing.
cook ramen in a microwave. You have
Sure
to
you can.
cook it in the pan, let the water boil,
absolutely
drain the water,
absolutely
and then
not.
put the
And I'm going to tell you why.
seasoning in.
Because your younger brother has the ramen cooker and he uses it all the time.
And my little brother is from a different generation.
No, it makes life
so
so
generations.
It does make life
microwave
so easy.
their water?
I'd rather take it the hard way.
Generations
I'd rather
microwave
have
their
it the
water.
hard way. You guys,
Look, you're dipping your chicken
he's the
nuggets
man
without
over
holding.
here. Wait a minute. This is the man asking
Car
me
gadget
to cook
stuff
him
has to
ramen
get
at
used.
2 a.m. in the
I
morning.
never asked you to cook ramen. You always just offer.
Do you eat it?
Well, if you're making it, you might as well make extra, right?
See?
You might well make extra.
See?
But I'm not the one. I'm not the one telling you to get up.
Are you guys the type of people who like car gadget stuff like I do? I like useful car gadget stuff. Like it has to be useful. There's a lot of different things. Like I saw something that's really cool. Like the scrub brush now. They have the scrub brush that goes in the drill so you can scrub like your mats and stuff like that. Now I've always done that by hand. You guys know I had that brush in there by hand. So now they have the one that you put in the end of the drill and you use it and you scrub it around. And I don't know one of those yet because I do that by hand. Not that I'm giving any hints or anything. I'm just saying I've always done that by hand. And what I'm worried about, here's the reason why I thought about cutting my one I do by hand and then just making it fit my drill. I've thought about that in the past. But I always worried about using it on my carpet and having it kind of like
pull the cloth apart?
Pull the cloth up a little bit, but a lot of people are doing it now, so apparently that you don't have to worry about that.
You know, I've came up with $1 million invention.
$1 million?
I'm just going to share it.
Okay.
What happens
when you share it, it's out there then.
I know, I don't care. You know, it is what it is. I'm not going to create it.
I'm not going to create it. I came up with it, but I'm not going to create it.
Yeah, I came up with it, so, and this is documented.
You sure you came up with it, but somebody else didn't already?
I haven't been able to find it. So you know how our glove box is?
Hold on, I got to pause you. I said that, and Nathaniel literally rolled and closed his eyes at the same time because when I said, "Are you sure you didn't create it?" Something that's already been created. Nathaniel knew where I was going. Like he's like, "How many times have we had this conversation?"
Right, we've had this conversation a lot. All right, but look,
research
so
and
you know
development.
how our glove
doesn't exist.
Our glove apartment, right? You know how it usually has 2 drawers in it, one top, one bottom. What happens? And it usually has a cigarette lighter in it, right?
Will you get to the point?
A wireless charger. If we could create a wireless charger that's sticky and you could just open up your thing and put it right there.
What was the point of that?
And then when you close it, you can just set your phone on the top of your glove compartment, and it charges it wirelessly.
So,
it doesn't show
I'm going
any
to tell
of
you
the
why
wires.
that's useless.
Hold on.
It's not useless.
It is, and I'm going to tell you why.
use that.
Because in 2023,
They have cars that already.
They got
okay,
cars
what about your 2000s
that have
up?
wireless chargers that sit right in your center console.
All right, but
Okay,
not everybody
so can I
has
back
a new
up for a
vehicle.
second?
Right, but you can also add it into older cars.
Can I back up a second?
Back up.
The Camry already has that.
I know, but I'm
Right.
talking about older cars. Like,
especially, you know. Okay, so
Hold on.
cars.
So you want a drop-in like tray that
yes.
drops into the older cars that you could put like one of those like change
change things basically.
tray that you
But-
could drop in there that stays in there that's a wireless charger.
Yes, but it
Just an
goes
add-on for older
through the
cars.
leather. Yeah, it goes
No,
through the
I
leather.
understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay,
but
I'm
what
gonna
is
say that might be a creative idea.
but what is stopping me, right?
What's stopping you? Okay.
Right. So it's either I take a couple $100,000 and I make that, right?
Okay.
And that is one size that doesn't fit all.
It does.
It doesn't.
Make it small enough where it fits all.
No, it's not.
It's not. It's never-
gonna
it's
fit
not
all.
gonna fit all.
It's
not.
it won't be. No,
Now-
hold on. Let me stop.
make it fit all.
I know I cut through you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, one, you can't make it fit all because it's gonna be one size
I'm gonna prove you wrong.
and stuff. It's gonna be right. It's gonna be one size that we all agree on and stuff, and it's not gonna fit in either small areas or it's gonna be a weird fit when you could easily just go buy a wireless magnet phone holder that does the same thing. Wireless
Yeah, but
charging.
the wires are everywhere.
You're trying.
It's not.
What
It's
he's
not.
trying to do
It's
is
a
he's
cell
trying
phone.
to,
A cell phone holder that has wireless.
Yeah, but what he's trying to do
charging.
is he's trying to be clever. Like so Cameron's trying to be clever and he's trying to be sleek where you don't see that on the back of your phone. That's what he's trying to accomplish. So I get it.
You're not seeing anything on the back. What are you talking about?
You are if you have a magnetic one. That's,
Right, but then I can't use my phone. So
No,
that
I'm just
eliminates-
talking about
eliminates-
what happens if you just set it on your glove box,
Right.
right? Let's say your
Right.
glove box
it's
is
not
right
your
here.
glove box. It's your armrest.
Your armrest. And
I'm gonna
you
say
just
glove
set your
box,
phone
I'm like,
in
I'm
there.
so-
Your
it's
glove
so
box,
far
like that
away
holds
from me.
gloves.
Because
Like, you're
all
right.
the
On the
time
armrest.
I
Yeah,
take
know what you
my
meant.
phone and I just that's not a glove box.
That's
You're
not
right.
a glove
That's
box.
your
Armrest. It's your armrest. I know what you meant.
I just set it right there and it stays as I'm driving. What happens if it was just sitting right there and it was just charging because there was a magnet underneath that was providing power through the
By the way, just so you know, I just learned that's actually not an armrest in the country out where we live. That's actually a makeshift cooler.
Oh.
You actually take I'm going to say in the country, you actually take yourself a Walmart bag and you open up your armrest and then you take a Walmart bag and you slide it down inside there.
Why are you speaking like that?
Because well, you have to explain it right. You
Down
put it-
yonder?
down yonder, and you put a Walmart bag down inside of it, and then you pour yourself a little ice inside the Walmart bag, and then you drop yourself a couple cold ones down inside there, and you close the armrest, you let them sit for a little while, and then it keeps your keeps your drinkies cool.
Look, it's kind of funny, right?
Here,
so
I'll use Nathaniel's excuse. You know, in the 2023.
No, look.
I did not know that was a cooler until somebody told me that's what that's for.
It
So
got
look,
drain holes.
I was watching this video, right?
Into your carpet. But.
Yeah.
I was watching this video of this TV show, right? And then this lady, this is a, obviously a TV show, so it's made up and
No, I
stuff.
got you.
So this lady and this gentleman's in this car, right? And the lady gets pulled over, right? And apparently the lady's like tripping, and she's already kind of like a little tipsy,
Right.
Right? An officer walks over, and he's like, before she can even say something, she pulls out her registration, hands it. She's like, "Is there anything I can help you with, officer?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm just, just looking around." He's like, "Is that alcohol I smell in your breath?" And she's like, "No, officer, it's not alcohol." He's like, "Well, what's that water bottle over there?" She's like, "Well, that's water. I'll show you it's water. If it was vodka, could I do this? Could I open it up and drink it all?" She drinks it, finishes the whole bottle, and she's like, "Woo!" Now,
Water it is.
and you can definitely tell it wasn't water because she's like it hit her hard, and she was like, "Now, if it was alcohol, could I do that?" He's like, "All right, man, get out of the car. Can you do a walk for me?" She does the walk. She passes it. He's like, "All right, you're good to go." And then literally she gets it back in the car, hits a person, and literally hits the wall after leaving the traffic stop. Or no. So the police officer lets her go, right? And she steals the officer's gun, runs back in the car, and the guy's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "We're leaving this place," and they hit someone. after getting off scot-free.
I like the one that's going around where they get pulled over and the officer comes. And not that drink and drive is not a joke, but if you guys can't, there's things that can be comical that you can make jokes in. Like you guys know I'm big on people not drinking and driving. So I want to make that clear before I say that I think this little skit that was done is funny, because every time we try to talk about something that's funny, I get these weird messages from people like, well, how did you make fun of that? Where'd you find humor in that? Drinking and driving is not anything to joke about, but I find,
if you think people aren't doing it,
right,
you're crazy.
But I find comedy when people do skits and they can find comedy within inside certain things. So I'm gonna put that out there. But there's that skit where the police officer comes up to the window of the guy and you're like, have you been drinking tonight? He's like, I hadn't had a drop. And the wife corrects everything that the husband says. And that's what it's based on. It's not based on the drinking and driving part. It's like, I hadn't had a drop. And like, he's a liar. He drank 5 beers. And he's like, can you say your alphabet? And he's like, no, it's like something like, I've never really been good with that. The only reason why he can't say it because he's drunk. You know what I mean? it's like
trying to get him to go to jail.
Yeah, it was like everything. It's everything that he says, and he's like, when it comes down to like the end of it, it's like something where he says something like that. He's like, is that your wife? And he's like, well, not anymore. So I thought it was funny. Like, and they turned the light on the comedy side of that. Like I said, don't find drinking and driving. That wasn't the point. It was just the comedy skit based on that.
It was just like the Gabriel Iglesias one when he was like, I was pulled over. He goes, but I had enough time to hop in the passenger seat. So when the officer came up to the window and was like, are you drunk? No. Well, were you driving? I don't know. I wasn't driving. I'm too
You just
drunk.
missed him.
Yeah. I'm
You think
too
I'm
messed
driving?
up.
I'm way too messed up to be driving.
You guys remember the story of that I told you guys. I know you guys remember that story.
It's a little bit.
Which one? There was a couple different
I told
ones.
you guys there's a bunch of stories that we've never told on this show of my life that I just don't tell because I just don't think sometimes we don't get into it. But there's a story, I think when I was a very young man and I was a teenager, we got pulled over after leaving a high school party. And when the police officer came to the window, all of us except one were in the back seat of the car. There was nobody behind the wheel of the car.
Right, because he got charged then. There's a bunch of people.
Oh,
you don't know who's
but
driving.
still. But
You're still getting something.
And it wasn't even a matter, I think even back then, it wasn't even a matter of like drinking and driving. It was the fact that we knew we were at a party. Everybody knew that they had probably drunk something. And but back then you didn't even know like what the limits were or anything like that. And the officer got us all in the car. And to tell you how things have changed now to then, and I think that's probably what opened my eyes a lot to where I am now, and my standpoint on a lot of that stuff is with drinking and driving. Is I think that was kind of, he got us all out of the car and talked to us and everything like that. And I think he realized that none of us were at that point. You know what I mean?
Like way past the limit.
It wasn't even probably anywhere
because you guys probably had
close.
so much comic-y and you.
There was some comical stuff to that pullover. There really was. And he just looked like he was just like, are you kidding me? Get out of the car. And he got us all in the car. We're all standing there because there was nobody in the driver's seat. Literally, like. It was already, I think there was
car
already
just
like.
comes to a rolling
no, I think
stop.
it was already, if I remember, there was already like 5 of us in the back seat as it was. Like when he got pulled over, so now there's 6 in the back seat. You know what I mean? So he gets out of the car and literally made us leave the car there parked and made us walk.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's how things are different.
That's how things are different from how they are now.
Well, I told you about what happened to me when I used to work at Dave & Buster's. I don't care about saying the place, but when I worked at Dave & Buster's and I got home that night, that officer followed me all the way there. I gave you a call. I was like, I think I'm going to be pulled over. You're like, why? I was like, because I have 2 officers now next to my side. Pulled me over, made me do a whole field sobriety test, and then I ended the conversation with, you guys realize I do work there. And they were like, oh, okay, you can go home. You know, like, I was just like, man, you followed me only because you thought I left there.
It is sketchy. Here's the thing. You know, I said, I got a lot of friends that are police officers and stuff like that, and I understand they have a job to do, but sometimes there's just little things that make me shake my head, that make me kind of go, But I've had a lot of good contact with police officers. I've had some ones that, like I said, make me shake my head. On that note, guys, like I said, you know, make your determination from there, but I don't know. There's a lot of different things. Black Friday's It's out there. You can get yourself some gadgets that may make you smile versus have some weird experiences. I got some more to talk to you guys about. I got to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I got some more for you. Hang tight. I'll talk to you soon.
You're listening to Dave Palach on Let's Talk Cars Radio. Dave will be right back. Nobody remembers the name J.F. Whitlow and Sons Incorporated until you need them. But when you have a toilet problem, drains back up, pipes freeze, your heat or air conditioning stops working, then you remember J.F. Whitlow and Sons. Don't forget the phone number, 399-1714. That's 399-1714. Air conditioning and heating, and all plumbing. J.F. Whitlow and Sons have been serving Hampton Roads since 1949, residential and commercial. You can always count on J.F. Whitlow and Sons to get to you fast and get the job done right the first time. Located in Portsmouth and serving all of Hampton Roads. Those who know, call J.F. Whitlow and Sons. Call them at 399-1714. That's 399-1714. J.F. Whitlow and Sons Incorporated.
Hey, Michelle. Thanks for coming in.
No problem. What is that?
Oh, Curtis dropped that off earlier this week. He calls it the excitement button. Every time you say Liberty, I'm supposed to push this button.
Liberty?
Yeah.
Liberty?
Oh, yeah.
Liberty?
Liberty Transmissions for the working man.
I don't know about this, Dave.
You gotta admit, it's got a ring to it.
Liberty Transmission, 233-3131. That's 233-3131. Better yet, visit them today. 5160 Singleton Way in Virginia Beach. 233-3131. Liberty Transmission.
Something really cool happened in 1975. And no, it wasn't the beginning of the disco era. Congress passed the Magnuson-Moss Act, so you don't have to take your vehicle back to your dealer to keep your vehicle manufacturer's warranty in effect. Our Napa Auto Care Center uses the proper replacement parts and procedures to keep that warranty valid. Visit our independently owned Napa Auto Care Center today.
Hey guys, you asked for it and I delivered. Check out our all-star team of automotive specialists at NapaBDGHRVA.com. That's NapaBDGHRVA.com. Talk to you soon.
There's no place like home. Home is where the heart is. Home sweet home. Like every movie, book, and song, every story has a beginning and end. Let your story start today. Call Bob Barnum today at the Perfect House Team with the Real Estate Group.
Bob here from the Perfect House Team. From beginning to end, I'm ready to help you write your story. Call me today at 757-464-1003. That's 757-464-1003.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Cars Radio, your automotive specialist. Now, back to your host, Dave Palach.
Hey guys, welcome back. So if you're with us for the first segment, we were talking about Black Friday sales and we rolled into getting pulled over by police cars and stuff. It went off the rail this way and that rail. So if you're going out for the Black Friday sale, another thing that popped up this week, we're talking about park it. So what I mean by parking is if you guys go out for Black Friday sale to go buy some of the weird gadgets for cars
Do you know
that are
the
out
rule?
there. Did you know? Yeah. We talked about this before. So there was this little meme that popped up this week in one of the little videos and stuff like that. And it was this lady. It made me laugh, but I was irritated by it too. She was running a video of a pickup truck that was parked in a parking space. And she's like, really? Really? And she's showing the pickup truck. That's really how you parked? Really? That's what she just kept on saying over and over again. And the pickup truck was parked with the front end even with the parking spot, with the end of the marking. And then the back of the truck was hanging over into the parking spot behind it. You really got to take up two parking spots? Really? So,
Sometimes, yes.
As you know, my truck is big. It's long. I have a double cab truck with a full bed on it. So here's the thing. when I park my truck, the parking spots are not big enough for my truck. Most of the time, 9 out of 10 times it's not. So I have a choice to make. Either I line the front of my truck up with the parking spot, or I line the back of my truck up with the back of the parking spot. Now, here's the two problems. If I line my truck up with the back of the parking spot, the front of my truck hangs over into the drive lane so far most of the time that I'm blocking half of the drive lane, which means if somebody turns that corner and comes around, instantly the front of my truck's hanging out. And I got to hope that they're paying attention enough not to hit the front of my truck when they come around a corner, or if they're coming down the lane, that they have to swing out and around my truck. So to keep that from happening, I have to find a parking spot enough that has 2 parking spots available, and I back my truck even with the rest of the cars. Now my back end hangs into the second parking spot. Now that causes an issue. That means the vehicle who comes into the parking spot behind me has to be short enough that when it pulls in, that it can pull up to my tailgate and still get itself in. So usually you're looking at a smaller vehicle. Now, it doesn't mean they can't park in that parking spot. It just means it can't be a big, huge size vehicle to pull in, and they got to pull up to my tailgate.
Which,
there's nothing I can do about that. It's the right way for me to park my vehicle, though.
but you also are still considerate, because how many times have I watched you go to the back, see that your trailer hitch is holding over, and you just go bling to the pin and pull out the trailer hitch.
And I do. You're right. I do that. But my truck itself, bumper and everything, is still hanging over into that second parking spot. Now, I won't, a lot of times, and I got a trailer hitch. She's right. I got a trailer hitch on my truck too, which makes it even worse. But I will go a lot of times and go pull my trailer hitch out and throw my trailer hitch in the back of the truck.
Especially in like shopping centers or malls.
Now, here's the thing. There's sometimes I leave my trailer hitch
there on purpose.
And here's the reason why. If someone was to pull into that parking spot and whip into it really quick, they hit my trailer hitch before they hit my truck. It makes a crunch sound into the trailer hitch before it hits my truck. Yep. So there's no damage to my truck. Usually it'll make them stop before. And by the way, people are like, oh, they don't see the trailer hitch, and that's really wrong. No, my trailer hitch is, you can see it
very
clearly.
Bright. I mean, it has a yellow sticker on it.
You can clearly see it beforehand. So there's like that decision which way, and I'm really not trying to be a jerk about it. I just rather them not hit my truck, and hopefully they're paying attention. So you have like I said, you have a choice. Now, here's the thing. If I pull into the parking spot, okay, so we're talking about back because I had to back in. If I pull forward in the parking spot, then my back of my truck and my trailer hitch and everything is hanging way out into the drive lane, which is even worse for people because I know 9 out of 10 times someone's going to snag the back end of my truck. And if I left my trailer hitch into it, they're going to drag the trailer hitch down the side of their vehicle without even realizing. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into that.
You remember that Black Friday, 2 years ago? I borrowed your truck.
Yep.
And every store I went to, I was sending him a photo. It started off with Best Buy, where couldn't find any parking spots, but there was a grass patch. So I just pulled the truck up on the grass patch, parked it nice and neat, came out, and there was 4 other trucks that was as long as him.
Do you guys remember the special parking spot we had at the Walmart in the city center?
Do you remember the special parking spot we had at IHOP?
Yeah. So
the next parking spot was Pembroke Mall, and security came out and was like, what are you doing? I'm like, dude, there's no parking spots for me to park this car at. And he's like, looks at the truck and goes, I understand. Thank you for parking it nice.
Yeah. So I, like, okay. I had for years places that I went to on a regular basis had made my own parking spots. I know that sounds weird, but I did. I had made special parking spots.
We were considerate.
And I had people actually look at it and go, that's really smart. Where I'd park my truck. So at the city center Walmart, there was a big patch of grass that was evenly leveled with the parking spots that were rows of cars. And for some reason, they instead of putting more parking spots in, they put a big stretch of grass in between. And my truck fit perfectly on those grass patches. So every time I went to that Walmart, I hopped the curb and drove my truck up on the grass and parked right there. Well, then I started doing it, and other people started doing it that had longer trucks because they made the parking spots so small
that you couldn't even whip the vehicle in.
You couldn't back the vehicle into a parking spot. You had to make like a 6-point turn to go back and forth to get it lined up to get into one of their parking spots because the drive lanes were so short. And then once you got it in, your truck hung way out into the drive lane. So there was just no way to go shopping there. And by the way, everybody's like, why don't you go to some other place? Well, another Walmart is 20
like
minutes
20
up the road. I'm not going to drive 20 minutes out of my way to go to Walmart. So I started making so every time I went there, I parked in that. And then I noticed as I did it, over the years, other trucks started to park there. So people obviously saw me do it and then started doing it over the years. And then there was IHOP. The only place my truck fit at IHOP was a parking spot that I made it. And it was down a drive lane to the side against a curb where my truck was completely out of the way, and I'd always park it there where it was completely out of everybody's way, and I didn't have to worry about anybody hitting it, and it was never everybody's way, so I always parked there. And then I noticed big trucks start parking there years after we started parking there, so it kind of worked. And that went on for years. I just was always trying to be considerate and be out of people's way.
Well, let me ask you, though, because this is what brought the topic on. Do you guys... Like I was asking you guys earlier, so you already know.
And I knew the answer when you asked me.
Yeah, you did. Do you guys know what you are supposed to do when you pull into a parking spot?
So I posed that question to you guys, and you guys, I'm curious, send us messages or emails. When you pull into a parking spot, into a parking lot, how are you supposed to park? And there is a particular way. Most people do not know how you're supposed to park. And Nathaniel, did you know the answer when he asked you?
The way he asked me was a little weird. If he would have asked me in a little better way, probably, yeah.
He's like, just pull in straight.
But there is a way. So if you guys don't know, when you pull into, but here's the problem. It's usually hard to do this because a lot of people don't know and they haven't started. So it has to be started off.
When one person messes it up.
Right. If one person messes it up, then it's all messed up. But typically, guys, when you pull into a parking spot, you're supposed to park all the way to the left-hand side. That means if you're looking at the parking spot straight on, you're supposed to park your tires to the left of the line. So your tire's supposed to be on the left-hand side of the line as far over as you're supposed to go. And then everybody's supposed to proceed from there. The reason why you do this is if everybody parks to the left-hand side, it means both doors of the car can swing open all the way without hitting each other's cars. The doors will never hit.
And it also makes the passenger doors where it can be fully opened,
That's
and
what
it's
I
up
just
to
said.
the driver's.
That's what you just said.
Well, let's just say that the other car next to the driver is closer, right? You still leave where the passenger can open, and now it's your responsibility as the driver to not hit the car next to you if it's not that
What
close.
part of both doors open up on the car and you don't hit each other? When
Look,
the next
I'm doing
car
a lot
parks,
of technical stuff over here too, okay?
When the next car parks, same thing. The doors don't hit each other. And if everybody follows suit, the funny thing about it is they don't teach this anymore in driving class. Now, if they taught you that in driving class, you would know that.
Yep.
But they don't teach that in driving class, and I think they should. They should get on the news and tell everybody and remind everybody about that, because as you guys know, shows ago, I told you about the guy that smacked my truck like 3 different times. And then when I nicely confronted him about it, is the nicest way I knew how to confront him about it, was like, hey, I like my vehicle a lot. Can you please not hit it with the door again? And then he got stupidly rude with me.
There was no guy for me to wait for the other day.
Right. So, but I think if people knew, then they would start doing that, and it wouldn't happen so much. But there is, and it's funny. I think Cameron thought I would never know that answer when he asked me for it. And as soon as I said it, he just looked at me like, "How did you know that?"
How do you know?
I've known that for years. It's just getting people to do it is the hard part.
Does your car alarm make a certain sound if somebody smacks yours?
My truck doesn't make that noise,
But the Camry does, right?
The Camry makes a noise if you mess with it.
So what we're talking about is like my car alarm. It tells me when people smack my car, and
does it buzz on your keychain if they do it, or does it just make a noise?
It does, but I don't have my battery in that remote. But let's say because it knows that remote's turned off right now, it actually gives me different audible notifications
Here's the thing. So
when I unlock my
explain
car.
to me why you bought such an advanced alarm system and you don't use half the features it came with.
I did before.
Gotta pay for the features.
No.
Is it a subscribe feature program?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's the reason why.
It is. All right, so half of my system works as just like a regular remote system. You know, it has a 2-way remote, so it talks.
Basically,
to me.
we were just talking about a couple weeks ago.
It also talks to a 1-way remote. It also, if I
He's got like the Mac Daddy alarm system. It's got everything. I was like
tells
wondering
me,
it's not using all the features.
If somebody's just lightly touches my car, it knows. Now, if somebody actually goes and grabs the door handle,
is yours Viper?
Yes. Oh no, mine's CompuStar, but it's the drone version of the CompuStar.
Okay, all right.
So basically, I can also put a chip in it, and it connects to the satellites.
Okay, because I remember when Viper was like it would send you a message. It'd send you a message and tell you when someone's touched your car.
Yep, that's what mine does. Mine
like when your alarms go off, it instantly says because Like my buddy had, well, this tells you how far it goes back. When I was in school, I was in high school. It had it. And it would
Viper
tell,
was then?
Oh, yeah. And it would tell you when it went off, if somebody was messing with your alarm, and he'd get up out of class because somebody had was messing with
I've
his
gotten
It was
up
never like
out
a
of
false
my,
alarm.
It could, but that if it went off, it meant somebody had bumped your car or whatever.
Right.
And
Somebody bumps my car, it gives me 5 audible alerts. It tells me what door that they actually hit. So like if it goes off and I walk around and I go open up that door, it'll start to go off again and let me know it was that door that was triggered.
Like I said, I remember him jumping up out of the seat in class, and teachers get mad. He's like, "Someone messing with my car!" And he was the one that had the Conquest, the one I told them. Yeah. So
By the way,
that's how I used to like
my
Conquest.
system's an $800 system. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you pay good money for it. Anyway, guys, hey, on that note, let me take a quick Christopher break. When we come back, I do have some more for you guys, so sit tight. I know it's exhausting to go through commercials, but hey, the commercials you're listening to are great sponsors, so listen to them because you might like something they had to say. I'll talk to you guys soon.
You're listening to Dave Palach on Let's Talk Cars Radio. Dave will be right back. Nobody remembers the name J.F. Whitlow & Sons Incorporated until you need them. But when you have a toilet problem, drains back up, pipes freeze, your heat or air conditioning stops working, then you remember J.F. Whitlow & Sons. Don't forget the phone number, 399-1714. That's 399-1714. Air conditioning and heating, and all plumbing. J.F. Whitlow & Sons have been serving Hampton Roads since 1949, residential and commercial. You can always count on J.F. Whitlow & Sons to get to you fast and get the job done right the first time. Located in Portsmouth and serving all of Hampton Roads. Those who know, call J.F. Whitlow & Sons. Call them at 399-1714. That's 399-1714. J.F. Whitlow & Sons Incorporated.
Okay, guys, it's time to change up Liberty's commercial. Curtis couldn't make it, so Michelle Price is coming in, and she said absolutely no messing around this time. Hey, Michelle, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, go for it.
Hi, I'm Michelle Price from Liberty Transmission. Now, I could sit here and tell you a bunch of stuff you really don't care to hear about transmissions, but I'm not. However, if you want a great transmission at a fair price, and you want it from a family shop where a handshake still means everything, come see us at Liberty Transmission. My husband's name is on every one. How was that?
Well, I think that pretty much says it all, but just one last thing. Woo! Sorry, Michelle. Curtis made me do it.
Liberty Transmission, 233-3131. That's 233-3131. Better yet, visit them today. 5160 Singleton Way in Virginia Beach. 233-3131. Liberty Transmission.
There's something special about Napa Auto Care Centers. They're backed by the national strength of Napa. Nationwide warranties honored by thousands of locations. You know, that's Napa know-how. But more importantly, your Napa Auto Care Center is independently owned and operated by neighborhood professionals who operate by a written code of ethics. Put your vehicle in the hands of ASC certified technicians who will greet you with a smile you can trust. Visit us today.
You heard me say it, and now here's your chance. Now's the time to go find your auto garage. Don't wait until it's too late. Go to NapaBDGHRVA.com and find your all-star car care center today. That's NapaBDGHRVA.com. Talk to you soon. Hey guys, Dave from Let's Talk Cars Radio. So for the last 2 years, if you listen to the show, you've heard me talk about my dream house. It has been a great experience buying land, building my house, even selling my old house. One thing I didn't tell you about was the real estate agent that I used. I used Bob Bardem from the Perfect House team in the real estate group. It's been one of the best experiences I've ever had. Bob has been there for us from beginning to end and treated us just like family. I'm telling you, you've heard me talk about this because it has been one of the truly best experiences that I've had. If I did not choose Bob, I don't think that I would have all the best things to say about building this house. So, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, definitely give Bob a call at the Perfect House team in the real estate group. You can contact Bob at 757-464-1003. That's 757-464-1003. And I'll talk to you soon.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Cars Radio, your automotive specialist. Now, back to your host, Dave Palach.
Hey guys, welcome back. So let's jump into a conversation about expectations. And I'm going to kind of jump into this a little bit. Cameron starts laughing. So we were having a conversation off camera, and it kind of went just with that. That's the reason why Cameron started laughing. It's a different type of expectations, Cameron. So, I mean, we all have expectations, but this has to do with something completely different. So here's the thing. We all have car problems, right? I mean, it happens. It does. I mean, Nathaniel's had car problems for 2 years.
One time or another.
Cameron has car problems all the time. So you have car problems. But here's the thing. So if you have a car problem, right, and your car breaks down.
How many times have you told me I need to get my spark plugs replaced, my coil packs?
You just got to keep up with general maintenance. It's just what it is. And that's exactly what we're talking about. So you have car problems and you take your car into a shop. I've always told you guys, when you take the car into the shop, when you talk with the garage, set boundaries and expectations. It makes sense, right?
100%.
Okay. But what I mean by that is, okay, so if you have expectations when it comes to your car, I need to have, okay, so let me back it up a little bit. If you've self-diagnosed your car, right?
Okay.
So if my car's broken, I believe it's X, Y, or Z when you drop your car off. So, hey, Mr. Guy behind the counter, service writer, or whatever, because I'm talking how a lot of customers talk to people, because that's just what they do. You know, they go in, they talk to the guy, they don't understand fully what everything his responsibility is.
It's like one of those commercials where they're like, oh, it's making this noise, but and the service writer's like, I know what it is.
Okay, but here's the thing.
But you're self-diagnosing.
It's kind of like that. You've self-diagnosed it a little bit, and you drop the car off, and then so you, in your mind, if you haven't done the due diligence of talking with that guy a little bit, have self-diagnosed your car. It needs a starter. It needs a battery. It needs an alternator. So you've self-diagnosed, right?
That's what I thought my car needed.
Okay, right. Perfect example.
I
right?
replaced the alternator. I mean, it did fix the current problem, but however, it didn't fix what I was going after. I was going after the delayed start.
Okay.
Then the car died. I replaced the part. It brought the car back to life, but the delayed start is still
okay.
there.
Well, it is, but because everything, like I told you, everything on your car, some of the issues and stuff that you're having, it's it's electrical driven. I think you're not getting enough spark and stuff like that. Your problem was the battery was low, so that's all electrical.
Yeah. And then the water, that
air,
and all that,
fire, fuel, car
I
starts.
thought you were just about to say air, fire, and water.
No. I mean, that makes a ar run, so you address those problems.
It's the last air
So
bender.
let's just say that you take your car in and you tell them, oh, this isn't working. So the guy's going to write up the ticket based on
What you said.
what
Customer
you said.
says this is
Right.
not working.
So you have the expectation of, okay, it needs an alternator. Okay, so the car goes in, the technician gets the ticket.
He tells you how
bring the
long it's
car
going to
in.
be.
Right, he's like, oh, it needs
For that part.
That's bingo. That's the problem, because now your expectations are singled in on, we're looking at an alternator. And if I need an alternator, I might have your car for 2.5, 3 hours. Okay. How long does the alternator take? And this is usually how the conversation goes. It needs an alternator, probably take us, 2.5 hours, something like that, to do an alternator. Cool, great. Give me
But your car isn't going to be worked on today.
Okay, so you're jumping ahead of me. So yeah, but you know exactly where I'm going with this.
do.
You don't know where your car falls in line. All you've heard is
It takes 2 hours to do that job.
it takes 2 hours to do that job, and you're cool, and you drop your car off and you go about your way. Why? Because you didn't set expectations with the guy behind the counter.
Do they have the parts? Do they have the technicians? Do they have the
Right.
space? Like,
Yeah, it's
so many things.
There is so many things. That's the reason why I try to explain to you guys that it's very important, maybe before the car even gets there, if you've got on the phone, and let's say it's not even your garage, because a lot of you do not have a garage you take your car to regularly. A lot of you guys, as I refer to, are garage hoppers. You just hop to whoever because you haven't taken the time to establish a garage. And I try to tell you guys how important it is to establish a garage for this reason. But if you have, even with the garage that you have established, make sure you're setting those expectations so you know. Because you may call that garage and they're like, oh yeah, it's only a 2.5 hour job. And all you heard in your head was,
It's a 2.5 hour job.
2.5 hour job. Yep. But they may have 45 cars ahead of you. and you guys joke about and think I'm kidding with you, but today's day and age, that may very well be for the fact that parts are limited and stuff like that. Hey, yeah, I know you guys aren't going to want to hear it, but with COVID, and us 2.5 years later, from COVID, parts are scarce. People are searching for parts like you would believe on some of the simplest parts. And that is a drawback like you wouldn't believe of trying to find parts.
And let's say they do have 45 cars and it's 2.5 hours on every car. That's 112 hours in all of those cars.
Right. So they only be about almost a
week out.
They only work 8-hour shifts. If you just say they're doing every car by 2.5 hours, not running into problems, it's 14 days until they still get to your car for that 2.5 hour
right.
work.
But here's the thing: they eat up hours quicker than that.
And the reason why they do that,
before they get to that car and get it done, it may be if you drop it off on Monday, you may not see it until the end of the week. And let's be honest,
the stores or dealerships or auto repair shops have already made the exception, or that. What's the word I'm looking for? The word that we keep using.
What, expectations?
Expectations, thank you. Yep. They've already know that you're making certain expectations in your mind that they have to add 45 minutes to what it really is going to take them because they know that you're already thinking about it.
There's so many aspects of this that people do not account for. Is the part in stock? Does the part warehouse have that stock? And if not, how long until they can get it to the repair shop? How deep is the repair shop with cars before they can get to it? Just because it's a 2.5 hour repair or whatever it is, there's so many different things. And you didn't even mind to get in the conversation. Now, so we're there, right?
People are afraid to ask questions.
Hold on. They are. The assumption is crazy. But let's just say you self-diagnosed, right? So I got your car there, 2.5 hours. You hope that the shop went ahead and did a diagnosis on the car. That they didn't just go with what you thought was wrong with it.
Right.
But let's just say that they did. And there's the difference between knowing your shop or just being a shop hopper.
Like we all know and stuff, when they do fix cars and stuff and they're doing certain parts, their system shows up multiple parts. It could be X, Y, and Z.
Some do. Not everybody does.
Not everyone.
Said, hey, my car needs an alternator, and that's the type of shop that just goes, okay, and they throw an alternator in it.
Right, but even with that being said, right, with them just, you got to replace this part first or this part. See, you made me lose my train of thought. I don't know where I was going with it.
Were you talking? All right, let me talk about this because maybe this will bring it back. Are you talking about I know some systems, these new dealership systems they're getting. Let's say they put in their system and go, I need to replace a starter. Or I need to replace an alternator. That system's going to go, cool, you're replacing an alternator, but while you're looking at the alternator, you should look at this part. Or you should look at that part because these two parts usually
it doesn't do that
bad.
though. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Their new system.
No. There is systems that go if you replace this part and it's still having a problem,
then go to
the next one because usually a lot of the systems say replace with known good part. If it doesn't fix, go to this. Replace with known.
But they're
good
not
part.
checking all of it. They're replacing one part at a time and then working their way down. What I was going to say originally was even when that part doesn't work and stuff, they give you a time quote, for, like we said, to fix that one part. But if that part doesn't fix your problem, well, now you have a new time quote.
Correct. Which I also have thought about that more on why doesn't and now you guys are going to say I'm really stupid about this, but
you're really stupid.
Maybe.
Why doesn't every dealership have a known good part? Let's say all those parts that are going bad in all these vehicles, right? And it's usually that part. Why don't they just keep that number one?
They do.
Do they?
Dealerships, if they see a trend, if dealerships see a trend over and over again of a part failing, a lot of times they have that part in stock.
I'm not talking about in stock. I'm just saying keep it on the bench so you can go grab.
It's the same thing.
I know, but you can go.
It's
No.
same
I'm just
thing.
saying you go grab that part, and if you don't know if it's that problem, go plop that part in. If it works, then goes. All right, I can order that part now because I know that I put a new part.
That's
in.
not how it works. You're not pulling that new part
they
out.
have it there in a storeroom right there at the dealership. If it's a part, they just go grab it out of the storeroom and put it in. And if it fixes it, the car rolls. They leave it in and they roll. It rolls. So they call Mr. Customer. It was XYZ and it's already in the car and it's going out the door. I mean, they just do that. They're
not pulling something apart. That's
if they're
working.
seeing 700,000 insert vehicle here that's having that problem, you guarantee that dealership's keeping that part in stock because it happens a lot. Trust me, it absolutely has happened a lot. But the problem with it is like I said, people in the expectation when they drop a car off is they're not communicating enough over and over and over again when they drop their car off. and they don't, or they tell the person what's wrong with the car, and that sometimes that garage just goes with it, and then come to find out it's not that problem. So now if they would have kept your car a week, now it's even longer because it wasn't even what was wrong with the car.
Wrong with the car.
I put an alternator in the car, and it's not the alternator because you self-diagnosed. A good shop will take your recommendation and then go find out really what's wrong with the car. And if it is that, that's great. But if it isn't, it's something else.
You can replace parts, and other things do go bad at the same time.
Oh, absolutely.
Replace
It happens
parts.
all
Well,
the
not
time.
just that.
It happens all
That
the time.
should be an
It's this,
expectation
it's
also.
this and something else.
And something
You know,
else.
Yeah.
You only thought it was this, but this also happened when this happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. It's one of those things. Nate was like, I had a thought.
I did, but carry on.
He's like, carry on.
He has short-term memory loss today.
No, he didn't. He was like, we have a short period of time for a commercial break, and I can't get into it. Hey, guys, hold that thought. I'm going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we got some more for you guys, and Nate will jump into what he was going to say. I'll talk to you guys soon.
You're listening to Dave Palach on Let's Talk Cars Radio. Dave will be right back. Nobody remembers the name J.F. Whitlow & Sons Incorporated until you need them. But when you have a toilet problem, drains back up, pipes freeze, your heat or air conditioning stops working, then you remember J.F. Whitlow & Sons. Don't forget the phone number, 399-1714. That's 399-1714. Air conditioning and heating, and all plumbing. J.F. Whitlow & Sons have been serving Hampton Roads since 1949, residential and commercial. You can always count on J.F. Whitlow & Sons to get to you fast and get the job done right the first time. Located in Portsmouth and serving all of Hampton Roads. Those who know, call J.F. Whitlow & Sons. Call them at 399-1714. That's 399-1714. J.F. Whitlow & Sons Incorporated.
Hey, Michelle, thanks for coming in.
No problem. What is that?
Oh, Curtis dropped that off earlier this week. He calls it the excitement button. Every time you say Liberty, I'm supposed to push this button.
Liberty?
Yeah.
Liberty?
Oh, yeah.
Liberty?
Liberty Transmissions for the working man.
I don't know about this, Dave.
You gotta admit, it's got a ring to it.
Liberty Transmission, 233-3131. That's 233-3131. Better yet, visit them today. 5160 Singleton Way in Virginia Beach. 233-3131. Liberty Transmission.
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Well, here's a pound of prevention from your Napa Auto Care Center. We'll customize a preventive maintenance package for your vehicle that will save you time, money, and hassles now and down the road. We'll ask, do you drive mainly in the city or on the highway? Plan to keep your vehicle? How long? And more. Preventive maintenance is a good thing that prevents bad things. Build yours at your Napa Auto Care Center today.
Hey guys, Dave Pillach from Let's Talk Cars Radio. Do you currently have a repair shop you trust? Haven't found the time to go to a garage for all your automotive needs? Check out the all-star team at Napa BDGHRVA.com. That's Napa BDGHRVA.com. Let them show you what it's like to work with the professionals and make a friend along the way. Talk to you soon.
So you're ready to make a move, whether buying or selling a home. You find you have more questions than answers. You're wondering if you're even asking the right questions, or where do you go from here? Stop, take a deep breath, even count to 3. Buying or selling a home is one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. Every house has a story. Let yours begin now by calling me, Bob Barnum, with the Perfect House team at the Real Estate Group. Call me today at 757-464-1003. That's 757-464-1003.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Cars Radio, your automotive specialist. Now, back to your host, Dave Palach.
Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Talk Cars Radio. So, in the last segment, we were talking about expectations, and we're not done with that yet. Here's the reason why. So, I find it kind of funny that in the automotive world and working on the side of the counter where the customer, you have to deal with the customers, you have to tell them a lot of different things. there's a lot of things that translate into what you know. And what I mean by that is we've touched upon this subject many times throughout the 8 years of having this show. What I mean by that is I'll give you a perfect example. So as you guys know, I've told you guys, we have the mega garage and we do a lot of work out there, and a lot of our friends come out and use the garage because that's the reason why I built the garage. I built the garage to hang out with my friends and my family and stuff, and use that garage to not only build our own projects, but to hang out with our friends, build their projects and save them a lot of money. Now everybody says, oh, well, you got sponsors and stuff, and don't you send your friends and family to sponsors? Oh, I do. Absolutely. But there's little things and stuff like that.
We sure do, but things aren't free.
You're right. They're not. There's a lot of things that I do send friends and family to our sponsor garages, our Napa BDG family, all the different garages that we have, 18 different garages that are out there, that I send them to go have that work done. Some of my friends love working on their cars as much as I do, and they want to tackle some things themselves, which is great. And I promote, hey, let's DIY it. You bring it on over and we go ahead. With that being said, a lot of times I only get so involved because I believe that if you're going to work on your car, you should work on your car, and I will assist to a certain degree. You're going to do a lot of the work. I'm going to use my knowledge to help you do that work. But here's the reason how that kind of comes together with auto garages. I have a lot of people who send me messages and send me emails, or we talk on the forums and stuff before we get into these shows, which I told you, that's how I come up with a lot of topics for this show, which here we are right now. That, Dave, I can't believe that X, Y, and Z cost so much. I had to pay, $700 for this, and the car, the guy had the car for 2 hours, and $700 for 2 hours just doesn't make a whole lot of sense and stuff. You're not paying sometimes for what that guy does. You're paying for what that guy knows. And I've tried to explain that many, many times over and over and over again. And people sometimes instantly get it, and some people just can't seem to get it. And it's funny, I'll give you an example, and that's the reason how this comes together. So we had one of our friends that came over, and he gave me a call. And he's like, hey, I want to do some work on the car. Do you mind if I stop in and spend the day, over at the garage working on the car? I said, no. I said, I'm here. I'm not doing anything. I got a couple chores I need to do here at the house. So why don't you come out and use the garage? Now, I have to do the things I need to do. So it's not like I'm going to be in the garage with you, but the garage is here. Turn the lights on, use whatever you need to do it. And you got to remember, the garage is completely stocked with tools. So it has pretty much anything everybody could ever desire to use inside that garage to work on a car. Usually, if we don't have it, then there's a problem. If we don't have it, let me guess, I would tell you right now, we're going to get it the next time if there's something missing. There's maybe a couple specialty tools I need, but for the most part, Cameron will tell you, we have it.
How many tools do we have just for my car?
Yeah, like I said, there's specialty tools for everything.
Spark plug remover. I have a special oil thing remover.
We had special things for Nathaniel's car that we ended up buying. Like I said, we ended up getting it.
Steve on a mission one time to go find a tool. Because we could see it in the Snap-on directory, but he could not find the part number. You remember?
Yeah, I remember.
He had to call his friends and
we ended up
getting
what we need. But so I'm doing chores, and our friend is in the garage. I didn't know he was having trouble. 3 hours. Yeah, with disassembling something. I guess he was out there for 3 hours having issues, and I was doing my chores, and he never contacted me. Now I'm here on the property, but he didn't say anything to me until 3 hours later. He sends me a message, hey, can you come give me a hand? I'm having trouble with something. I was like, sure. So I stopped what I was doing, and I went out there, and I was like, what's the deal? And he showed me what it was. I went to the toolbox. I grabbed 2 tools. I walked over and clink, undid what he needed to do. And he's like, are you kidding me? He's like, man, I've been sitting here for 3 hours trying to get that apart. And I was there for maybe 2 minutes. That translates into the conversation I have with people and friends. Well, he charged me $700, for what was 2.5 hours worth of work.
It was 2 hours for him, though. If
right.
you were to do it yourself,
right,
it's easily a 4 or 5 hour
Absolutely.
job.
And I'm trying to explain to you guys, when you take something to a repair shop, these guys are not mechanics. They're not mechanics. A lot of these guys have gone to school.
Skilled laborers.
To learn their trade. They're technicians. They have a technical skill that they have developed to learn how to do these things that unfortunately you're not capable of doing or don't want to do. Whichever one it is, it's one of the two. They have learned that. you have to appreciate what they know and what they do. It's no different than if you were
building a house.
You're skilled in
And you're
that.
paying a constructor.
Right. And
he's just putting wood up.
It's just like our favorite.
Anybody can
friend.
hammer wood, right?
It's just like one of our favorite friends where everybody said he can't take the transmission out in 13 minutes,
Right.
and
Yep,
they were
Mark,
just like,
absolutely.
Mark,
Yeah,
they're like,
yeah.
it's out. I mean,
it's 100%. I'll give you another example. So when I was heavily in the automotive business, and a customer would come to me and have me look at their vehicle for, say, transmission wise, and they're like, oh, I'm having all these problems with my car. And I'm like, okay, let me take a look at it. So they leave their car with me and we look it over and they come back and I go, well, you're having some serious transmission problems. That's what you're feeling in your car. I'm like, you're definitely going to need a transmission. How much? And I give them a price for it. And they're like, oh, I don't want to pay that much. That is, outrageous amount to have to fix this car. And I'm like, I'm sorry, that's just what it costs to fix your car. And they take their car and they leave. And 2 weeks later, the car comes in on a tow truck. And I see it pull in on a tow truck, and I see the customer get out of the tow truck, and he walks into the office, and he's talking with the front desk, and I walk over to see what's going on. And he's like, I had my car here 2 weeks ago, and now it doesn't move at all, and stuff.
It's all
and,
your fault.
they're not at that point, but they're almost at the, they want to say that.
Yep, I know.
But I'm like, what would you like to do? Well, what can we do about this? And I'm like, the same thing that I told you we could do about this 2 weeks ago. The car needed a transmission. You left and gave me a hard time about it 2 weeks ago. Remember when you left here and you were kind of unhappy when I said, hey, it needs a transmission. It's $3,300 to fix it. And the nicest way you really could, you kind of told me to pack sand and you left out of here. You weren't really happy with it. Although I didn't do anything other than look at your car, didn't charge you anything for looking at it, told you what was wrong with it. You didn't like what I told you. I somehow became the bad guy for looking at your car for free, telling you what it was going to take to fix it. And then you left out of here, and somehow I left being the mean guy. I don't even know how that is. I didn't even charge you. And then now you are back here 2 weeks ago, or 2 weeks later.
Asking for help.
Right, going, what can we do now? The same thing that we should have did 2 weeks ago. But now here's where it gets really bad. We take the car, we get it off the truck.
I had it apart, so it would have been cheaper. But now it's going to be
I didn't even
a lot
have it
more
apart.
expensive.
At that point we hadn't taken it. No, I didn't. I just looked at it. It's not even.
Well, I'm talking about weeks prior, right? Weeks prior.
Weeks
you
prior,
just looked at it. You didn't take it
I
apart.
just looked at it and told him what's going wrong with it. Hooked the computer, did the test drive, done all that stuff. Looked at it. Put it up in the air. We looked at it and just for free did all that and didn't charge you anything for it. Now here you are, and I go and then so I get in it. It's off the truck. I get in it. We put it and look at it. Stuff. It does not move. I hear all kinds of noises, and I go. So here's the deal. It's going to be $4,800 for you to fix. Well, why is it so much more money? Well, here's the deal. I can hear it. Something has come apart inside of it. It is making a hellacious noise. You now need a transmission case for it.
not just the gears.
Not just everything inside like you did last time. Something is inside there grinding apart. And I know the case for the transmission is now no good. Before we could have used your case, now I can't use your case, and I'm going to have to go find one, and it's going to cost us probably $1,100 to get a case for that. I'm not even putting a markup on the case. I'm just going to get you a case without a markup, but you're going to pay for that case because it's extra money. So with that being the case, here we are. So it's funny how the knowledge I gave you, because I have all that knowledge, I'm giving you all that knowledge, and I'm giving you that knowledge for free, and nobody's listening to the knowledge. And it's one of those things. You have to kind of get into it. And it's funny, it's what you know. I was trying to give you what I know. I gave you what I know for free. And you don't value that. You put no price value
You put no
on my knowledge.
value on anything. Like,
Right.
it's just such a hard conversation to have with people because I definitely understand it's like it is money and it definitely does. It definitely, like we were saying last show, it definitely does affect people when we're telling them, not only are we taking their cars, but when you're now telling them, hey, your car's going to be gone for a little bit, so.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing. So when you get into doing something, whether it be an engine or it be a transmission and stuff, my knowledge is 100% when I'm trying to help you out is rebuild, renew, or rather be new or rather be remanufactured. And there's a big difference between all three of those.
And most people don't know the difference.
That's
they
right.
think it's all the same, or
That's right.
they're getting a brand new thing.
That's
and
right.
That's not the case.
People do not know the difference, and there is a big difference. A rebuild, 100% is just rebuild. It means I open it up, I'm just going to throw some parts in, I'm going to rebuild it. Remanufactured means I'm going to take, most likely, your case. I want to try to take your case. Always want to try to use the original case if you can, if it's not damaged. And I'm going to go through it. I'm going to put all new parts inside of it and remanufacture. And then new is just new. But a lot of times people don't realize a new transmission a lot of times has a case that is not new. The case has been completely reconditioned, and then they start with new. And
it has brand new parts, but just the case has been reused. That's right. A lot of people don't know that. So, like I said, knowledge is worth everything, people. Keep that in mind. And the fact that a lot of times when you take your car to a repair shop, you're paying for that knowledge. So respect that when you're talking to those people, because it's really, really knowledge
important.
And speed.
It is.
Yep.
Knowledge is speed, and a lot of times my knowledge is what gets you out even quicker. On that note, guys, I got to go ahead and get out of here. It's the end of our show. I know it went by quick. It is Saturday. Enjoy your Saturday. Sunday's right around the corner. Make sure you enjoy your Saturday. Unplug. Spend some time with your kids. Play a board game with them. Take them to a car show. Do something. Just unplug and enjoy your time with them. They'll love you for it. We're going to go ahead and get out of here, and I will talk to you soon. You guys got anything before we get out of here?
Enjoy your weekend, guys.
Enjoy your weekend.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon. We love you, and we're out of here.